Chapter 31. Fang Yuan, you're in huge trouble. I've trained hard in basic martial arts for 7 consecutive days. But to think I only managed to endure 2 strikes from Fang Yuan and lost consciousness afterwards. Shame. Unforgivable shame, Gu Yue Mobei exclaimed, full of anguish and regret. In the family garden, he faced the wooden puppet, unleashing punches and kicks that were resulting in resounding echoes. Suddenly, he heard a laughing voice. "Little brother, do you have deep hatred for the puppet? Why the great resentment?" Upon hearing this familiar voice, Gu Yue Mobei relaxed and stopped his attacks. He turned his head. "Sister, you're back." "Uh-huh. The family council sent me out for an investigation mission, which lasted more than 10 days. Gu Yue Moyan laughingly replied. She was Mobei's blood-related sister, a rank 2 middle-stage Gu master. But soon her face turned grim, her eyes sharply gazing at Mobei. "Brother, what's the matter with those bruises on your face? Who bullied you?" "Ah, it's nothing. I accidentally tripped and fell." A hint of panic flashed across Mobei's face as he came up with an excuse. He did not wish for his sister to know of such an embarrassing event. The truth of the Mo family's future heir and the family head, Gu Yue Mochen's beloved grandson, consecutively knocked out twice in combat. But the fortunate thing was that he wasn't the only unlucky one. The others had suffered as well. "Oh, you have to be more careful in that case. As for your combat training, this won't do. You do not have a guth that enhances your defense right now. So use thick towels to cover yourself. This will protect your limbs from getting hurt," Gu Yue Moyan instructed before leaving. "Hello, young miss." "Good morning, young miss." "Young miss is back. Your servant greets you, miss." Gu Yue Moyan hastily walked with a cold demeanor, and the servants she met on the way bowed and paid respects to her without fail. She walked to the study room. Without any warning, Moyan pushed the door and entered through. Inside the room, Gu Yue Mochen was practicing his calligraphy art with his back facing her. "You're back?" Gu Yue Mochen asked directly without turning his body. "After investigating for half a month, what is the situation with the wolf's den?" "How did you know it's me, grandfather?" Moyan gasped, slightly taken aback. In the entire family, you're the only person that dares to enter my room without even knocking the door once. Who else can it be besides you, my beloved granddaughter?" Gu Yue Mochen reprimanded, although his face showed traces of concern and warmth, and he looked at Moyan with a smile. Moyan pouted. "When it comes to doting, you actually adore little brother more. However, since he's the future family head, you are more strict on him so others cannot sense your concern for him." After a while, she asked, "Grandfather, little brother was beaten up. I asked him, and he lied about the situation, so I had no choice but to ask you." Gu Yue Mochen's face turned serious. "You have not answered my question." He put down his brush and sat down. Moyan reluctantly reported, "The wolf's den is almost full, so according to the current rate of breeding speed, although there won't be an outbreak this year, there will definitely be a wolf tide next year at our mountain village." Gu Yue Mochen inquired again. "Generally, there's an outbreak every 3 years, so this is no surprise. However, within that horde, how many Thunder Crown wolves are there?" "Around 3. Gu Yue Mochen nodded, feeling assured. The Thunder Crown wolves were the head of the pack and were the most troublesome to deal with during an outbreak. 3 wasn't a large number since Qingmao Mountain had 3 clan villages. Each village could handle 1 wolf, and the pressure of the outbreak would be greatly reduced. "Grandfather, you have not told me about my little brother's matter yet," Moyan pursued again. "I suppose there's no matter telling you, but he was beaten up. The first time was 7 days ago, and the second time happened today. It happened in front of the school gates, and he was beaten until he sprawled on the ground and fainted on both occasions," Gu Yue Mochen laughingly replied. "Who has the guts to knock out my little brother?" Moyan stared wide-eyed. "He's a classmate of Mo Bei called Fang Yan. He fights really well," Gu Yue Mochen sniggered. Gu Yue Moyan's eyes grew larger, and she was perplexed as she replied, "Grandfather, what are you saying? He is your own blood-related grandson." Gu Yue Mochen stared deeply at his granddaughter and spoke meaningfully. "Moyan, my dear, You are a girl, so you may not understand. Defeat and humiliation only serve as fuel for improvement. Without failure, one can never develop and grow into a true mature man. Mobe was defeated, and that is his own failure. Once he wakes up, he will ask fighting techniques from the teachers. This is a sort of improvement, and this improvement comes from Fang Yuan, who beat him into realization. As his sister, if you really care and want to protect your brother, you should not interfere with his growth. Fang Yuan is just a boy with C-grade talent, while Mo Bi has B-grade talent. With us supporting him, he will step over Fang Yuan and drive him into the ground eventually. Leave this opponent to Mo Bi. In a woman's life, she needs a family and a lover. But for a man, a family is not a necessity. Yet what he cannot lack is a rival. Do not find trouble with Fang Yuan. Do you hear me? This is a matter between the youths. If you get involved, this will be perceived as bullying. Breaking the rules like that will cause our Mo family to be looked down upon. Mo Yan gasped wordlessly, but under Gu Yue Mo Chen's gaze, she finally lowered her head. Yes, grandfather. Your granddaughter understands. She staggered out of the study room, but even Gu Yue Mo Chen did not notice her eyes shine ominously. Grandfather, this is your way of loving your grandson, and I, Mo Yan, have my own methods. Mo Yan's heart already had different plans. In the inn's dining room, several tables were occupied and people were having dinner. Thus, the environment was rather lively. One or two waiters served dishes rapidly, traversing between tables. Fang Yuan sat at the table near the windows. He ordered a few dishes and ate while gazing out of the window. And no, looking out, the sunset looked like fire, slowly burning away. Half of the sun had already set. It longingly gazed at the lands, its afterglow being the sun's reluctance. Far up the mountains, it was already veiled by the seeping nightfall. The streets nearby were gathered full of people who were going home. Some of them were barefooted, some muddy farmers, some of them herb pickers, some hunters holding mountain pheasants, wild boars, and other animals, and some were gu-masters. They wore a blue uniform, looking clean and spirited, a headband and a waist belt completing their appearance. The belt had a specific function for rank 1. Gu-masters, it was a blue belt. There was a bronze plate at the front, and the number 1 could be seen. For rank 2 gu-masters, their belt was red, and the steel plate in the middle showed the number 2. Sitting at the side of the window, Fang Yuan observed that there were 6 to 7 rank 1 gu-masters, and they were mostly young men. There was also a rank 2 gu-master, a middle-aged man. As for rank 3 gu-masters, they were the family elders, and 4th rank would be the clan head, the lord of a village. Rank 5. Gu-masters were hardly seen, and in the entire history of the Guyue clan, there were only the 1st generation clan head and the 4th generation clan head who had reached this level. Actually, finding out a clan's strength is very simple. Just find a spot in the village, settle down and observe the people for a few hours, see how many rank 1 and rank 2 gu-masters there are, and you'll be able to see the clan's strength and wealth. Fang Yuan came to a conclusion with his accumulated knowledge of 500 years. Using the Guyue village as an example, there were around 20 people walking on the streets, and 6 were gu-masters. In these 6, there was a 50% chance of having 1 rank 2 gu-master. With this strength and capital, the Guyue clan managed to monopolize one of the best resource locations in Qingmao Mountain. But the mountain was just a small corner in the entire area of the southern border. The Guyue clan could only be considered as a middle-low-tier clan. I have only started my cultivation, and with rank 1 initial stage, I do not even have the qualification to roam the southern border. I need at least rank 3 cultivation to be able to further roam the world. Fang Yuan sighed as he consumed his dinner. Qingmao Mountain was too small. It could not contain his ambitions, and he was determined to leave. Ha ha, Guyue Fang Yuan, I have finally found you. At this moment, a middle-aged man laughed deviously as he approached. Fang Yuan turned slightly to see a man with a yellowish skin tone and hanging brows, but he had a huge body size and developed muscles. He strode several steps to Fang Yuan, with his arms folded, and proudly stared at the youth who was still consuming his dinner, with a hint of hostility. Fang Yuan, you've gotten yourself into huge trouble. Do you know that? Hey, you have dared to hit our young master of the Mo family, and now our young miss is here to settle the score with you. The middle-aged man snickered continuously. He constantly stared and sized up Fang Yuan, faintly emitting a threatening aura. Chapter 33. Go ahead and scold away. Mo Yan frowned. Then her rage burst forth almost instantly as she suddenly understood that she had been fooled by Fang Yuan. You are tremendously brave to even consider lying to me. While speaking, she stretched out her right hand to grab hold of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan stood firmly on the spot. He raised his head and laughed. Mo Yan, you better think this through. Mo Yan stopped her actions. While she still stood right outside the door, her outstretched hand paused in midair, and her face showed a sign of hesitation and resentment. Within the family, there were relevant rules. Students in the dormitories were protected, and any other person would not be allowed to intrude upon the hostel to capture the students. Mo Yan only wished to teach Fang Yuan a lesson and let him bear a taste of suffering. She definitely did not want to risk getting punished for breaking the rules. If it's only me who broke the rules, that would still be fine. However, if this would affect the family and even grandfather's honor. Thinking of this, Mo Yan reluctantly withdrew her arm. She looked at Fang Yuan, who was inside the house with her bloodshot eyes. If her death stare could be converted into fire, it would burn Fang Yuan to ashes in a second. I never lied to you. I said I would bring you to Fang Yuan, and now you have already found him here. It seems you have something to say to me. Fang Yuan smiled faintly with his arms behind his back, ignoring the pressure of a rank 2 Gu master, fearlessly making eye contact with Mo Yan's furious gaze. He was just a step apart from Mo Yan. One stood within the house, and one stayed outside. But this same distance had also become as far as the east was from the west. Hey, oh, Fang Yuan, you sure have studied the clan rules well and thoroughly. Mo Yan, suppressing her anger, said with a sinister smile. She added, unfortunately for you, even while relying on the rules, all it will do for you is to stall for time. There is no way you are staying in the dormitories forever. I'll see how long you can stand hiding in there. Fang Yuan laughed refreshingly and looked at Mo Yan with disdain. Then all the more I want to see how long you can disturb me. It is already late. I have a bed to sleep in. But what about you if I do not show up for class tomorrow and the elders come to investigate? What do you think I will say? Mo Yan flew into a rage, her fingers pointing at Fang Yan, barely restraining herself. Do you really think I wouldn't dare come in and take you down? Squeak. Fang Yuan opened the doors of the hostel wide open, his lips breaking into a grin. His eyes dark like the abyss, and his tone full of confidence, as if the situation was within his grasp. He challenged Mo Yan, then show me. Hey, Mo Yan calmed down instead upon seeing this. Her eyes squinted as she looked at Fang Yuan, and she said, do you think I'd fall for your goading? Fang Yuan shrugged. He had already seen through Mo Yan's personality. If he had closed the door, or even half shut it, Mo Yan had at least a 50% probability of breaking into the house. But when he purposely opened it fully, it had instead made her more wary and calm as a result. Thus there was barely any chance of her forcing her way in anymore. 500 years of experience had already made him fully aware of the human nature and their weaknesses. He grandly turned around, exposing his back fully to Mo Yan. If Mo Yan struck now, she would definitely be able to capture him in one swift action. However, Mo Yan stayed still outside the door, as if there was an invisible mountain blocking her way. Even after Fang Yuan sat in his bed, Mo Yan only stared at him in anger, gritting her teeth. But regardless of this, she did not make a move. This is the pathetic side of humans. Fang Yuan sat up and stared at Mo Yan, who was outside looking like a fool, thinking to himself, at times the things preventing people from taking action is not physical difficulty, but instead it is the restrictions they have placed on themselves subconsciously. When comparing cultivation levels, Fang Yuan was definitely not her match at this point in time. But even with her rank 2 cultivation level, she could only stare at Fang Yuan and had no courage to make a move. Her distance from him was only a few steps away, and the door was wide open with no hindrance. The only thing that was truly restricting her was none other than herself. Humanity sought for knowledge relentlessly to understand the world and to comprehend the rules, and ultimately to use them. If one is constantly bound by the rules, thus being restricted by the very knowledge they sought, that is the ultimate tragedy. Fang Yan took a final look at Mo Yan before closing his eyes and letting his consciousness sink into the primeval sea. This Fang Yuan dares to cultivate right in front of me. He is simply doing so as he pleases. Looking at this sight, Mo Yan felt a sense of frustration erupting from her chest, making her almost wanting to vomit blood. She badly wanted to go ahead and give him a few punches, but she knew she couldn't. Mo Yan suddenly felt a hint of regret. Standing outside the door, she felt the awkwardness of not being able to back down. She was indignant to give up now, but she would be devastatingly humiliated. She mobilized her servants with the intention to come and teach Fang Yuan a lesson. Yet in the end, she was the one who ended up becoming the laughingstock. Especially when there was a servant looking at her now. Damn it, Fang Yuan is way too uncooperative. He's too sly. Mo Yan furiously thought and started to provoke him with all sorts of insults, hoping to force him out of the room. Fang Yuan, you brat, come out if you're a man. Fang Yuan, as a man you must own up to your own doings. Now you're being a coward hiding in that room. Do you not feel ashamed of yourself? Stop pretending to ignore me. Get out if you know what's good for you. You cowardly, spineless trash. Fang Yuan shut his ears and did not give a single response. After scolding for a while instead of venting all her anger, she felt even more irritated. She was starting to feel like a clown or a shrew. Blocking the door was just way too embarrassing. This is getting to the death of me. Mo Yan was about to go crazy, and she finally gave up on provoking Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, you can hide now, but you can't hide from me forever. She furiously stomped the ground and left indignantly. Before leaving, she gave a final order. Gao Wan, stand there and watch him. I do not believe he will not leave the house. Yes, master. The muscular servant, Gao Wan, rapidly replied and sent Mo Yan off. Within his heart, he was feeling bitter. The mountain was chilly and breezy at night. He would have to stand guard the entire time, catching a cold easily like this. It was not an easy task. Swish, swoosh. Within the primeval sea, ebb and flow of the tides raged on. The green copper primeval essence gathered like water, forcing a tidal wave rolling about. Under Fang Yuan's mental guidance, the waves endlessly crashed towards the surrounding aperture walls. A Rank 1 initial stage Gu Master's aperture walls resembled a white barrier. At this time, with the green copper primeval essence crashing towards them, it produced shadows of light, creating an indescribable feeling. Time passed gradually, and the level of the green copper primeval sea slowly declined. From the original 44%, it dropped to 12%. If a Gu Master wants to raise their cultivation level, they would have to expend their primeval essence to nurture the aperture. Initial stage Gu Masters have light barriers as their aperture walls, while middle stage Gu Masters have water barriers as their aperture walls, and for upper stage, they have stone barriers. For me to cultivate from initial stage to middle stage, I will have to nurture the light barrier into water barrier aperture walls. From his 500 years of memories, Fang Yuan had complete familiarity with the current stages of cultivation, and the methods were as clear as day to him. He slowly opened his eyes, only to see that it was already late into the night. The crescent moon hung high in the night sky, the moonlight shining pure as water. The door was wide open, and the moonlight shone in, letting Fang Yuan think of a famous poem from Earth. On a quiet night, I saw the moonlight before my couch, and wondered if it were not the frost on the ground. 1. The night winds blew with a hint of chilliness. Fang Yuan did not have any warmth-type Gu, and with just the body of a 15-year-old, he could not help but shiver slightly. The night in the mountain was very cold. Scoundrel, you finally opened your eyes. How long are you planning to be cultivating there? Get out, you'll be punished regardless. You beat up our young master, Mo Bi, so it was only a matter of time before young miss teaches you a lesson. Seeing that Fang Yuan had woken up, Gao Wan, who was standing at the door, got his spirits up. Fang Yuan squinted. It seemed that the rank 2 female Gu master had left. Scoundrel, did you hear me? Hurry and come out here. You have a room to stay in and a bed to sleep, but I had to stand here all night. If you don't come out anytime soon, don't you believe I might just barge in? Seeing no reaction from Fang Yuan, Gao Wan threatened. Fang Yuan remained unfazed. Scumbag, come out and surrender yourself. You've offended the Mo family. You will not have any good days from now on. Hurry and apologize to young miss, and maybe she might just forgive you. Gao Wan continued to chide. Fang Yuan did not listen to a single word. He took out a primeval stone from his storage bag and held it in his hands, finally closing his eyes again. Seeing that he was going to continue cultivating, Gao Wan was anxious and broke into a fit. You mere C-rank talent. The most you can achieve in life is a rank 2 Gu master. What is there to cultivate? You are no match for the entire Mo family by yourself. Kid, are you deaf? Did you listen to a single word I said? Chapter 32. Making fun. If a normal person was stared at by this middle-aged man, they would have probably developed fear in their hearts already. However, Fang Yuan lost interest after looking at him for a second and continued focusing on his meal, treating this man as if he were invisible. Who's that guy? He wears the clothing of a family servant, and he is not a Gu master. Why would he dare to question young Master Fang Yuan? An employee wondered as he hid at the corner of the inn, sensing that the situation may turn ugly. He's like a fox assuming a tiger's ferocity. By using the Mo family as his backing, this servant man dares to clamor at a Gu master. If it were any other mortal man, they wouldn't have the guts to do this, someone beside the employee replied in disdain. Even so, as a mere mortal, he has the guts to cause a ruckus towards a Gu master. Tsk, tsk. This kind of experience must feel really great. You shouldn't think that a Gu master is always high and mighty. Young Master Fang Yuan is merely a rank 1 initial stage Gu master, and he has just managed to refine his vital Gu. If they were to fight now, he may not be the opponent of this muscular and strong mortal. Sigh, let's just hope that when they fight later, they will spare our inn and the furniture. The employees chattered back and forth, but none dared to take a step forward, only staring from a distance. Hey, you still have the mood to continue eating? Seeing as how he did not manage to intimidate or scare Fang Yuan, the muscular middle-aged man had a hint of doubt in his eyes. Do you think I'm lying to you? There are already people reporting to young miss, and she will be here shortly. Do not attempt to run away, young lad, because you won't be able to get away. My job here is to make sure you stay put. There will be much suffering for you later. Fang Yuan paid no heed to the man and continued eating his meal. The middle-aged servant frowned as he did not see a hint of panic or shock from Fang Yuan. This made him feel ignored, and his pride was severely offended. He had been a servant in the Mo family for over a decade, and he had acquired the trust of his master. Over a long period, he would naturally come to learn about the details of Gu masters. Rank 1 Gu masters mostly relied on their physical combat skills. In battle, a Gu worm's worth was attributed more to its deterrence factor than as a fighting force. He knew especially that for a young Gu master like Fang Yuan, who had just started cultivating, his physical strength was far inferior when compared to a grown man. If it came down to close combat, he who had trained for many years would gain the upper advantage. At the same time, Fang Yuan had supposedly only refined the Moonlight Gu, so at the max, he would only be able to shoot out several moonblades. The middle-aged man was used as a sparring partner from a long time ago, so he knew deeply that if a rank 1 initial stage Gu master were to use his primeval essence to unleash the moonblade, the most it could do was cut several palm-sized wounds and cause limited damage if it managed to hit the human body. Additionally, the man had the backing of the Mo family, so when he confronted Fang Yuan, he had no fear and was wholeheartedly trying to show off his worth to his masters so that he could be rewarded and deemed more useful to the family. Young lad, you sure are courageous, huh? The middle-aged man's tone was turning unfriendly as he folded up his sleeves, revealing his well-toned and muscular forearms. His 2 arms were large and full of scars. The forearms had thick, protruding veins and were even thicker than Fang Yuan's legs. The inn employees watched in fear, and several customers were already getting up, paying the bills and leaving this land of conflict. Fang Yuan has been found? Suddenly the door emitted a proud, loud female voice. Mo Yan strode forward in big steps and entered the inn. Behind her were numerous family servants. Her body figure was decent, slightly tall, and had the proper curves. But a long face like a horse's, an inherited gene from the Mo bloodline, caused her looks to be greatly affected, and thus she was only a middle upper tier beauty. However, she wore a dark blue uniform and a red belt, affixed with a square steel plate tied around her waistline. The steel plate was engraved with a Inyun too. Additionally, she had just returned from after a clan mission, so there was still lingering traces of the hardship that she had just gone through. These added up to create a field of pressure and threat that was emitted to her surroundings. Thus, once she stepped into the inn, the entire place went silent under her aura. "Your servant greets you, young miss." The middle-aged man changed his attitude completely upon seeing Mo Yan. He tried to smile charmingly, and he bent his body as he walked a few steps and knelt on the floor, greeting Mo Yan. Upon seeing this change in behavior, the workers in the inn could only stare in shock with their mouths wide open. The tall and muscular figure, as opposed to his humble, groveling attitude, was a great mismatch and was seemingly amusing. But the employees of the inn did not laugh, as his behavior only greatly showed off Mo Yan's imposing pressure and status. Some of the inn workers could not help but worry for Fang Yuan, as he was their major customer. If something were to happen to him and made him unable to patronize the inn any further, it would be a huge loss. More of them were secretly praying for Fang Yuan to surrender. If a fight really broke out and destroyed the inn's property, that would be worse. Mo Yan did not even take a look at the groveling Gao Wan. Her eyes were fixed on Fang Yuan. She took a few steps forward and demanded in a fierce tone, "So you are Fang Yuan? You seem to be having a good meal. Heh ha, have you ever had a knuckle sandwich? I'll give you a taste of it. It might be even more delicious." Even though she said that, Mo Yan did not make a move. Fang Yuan's actions were too calm. It was strange. Did he have any secret backers that were protecting him? But it shouldn't be so. I've checked before coming. This Fang Yuan only has an uncle and aunt that dislike him, while both his parents are deceased, and he even got chased out of the house by his uncle and aunt. In addition, he only has C-rank talent, so how could such a weak young man have any sort of background? Mo Yan thought in her mind. Regardless of this, the situation was still too peculiar. She had to test and probe further. Fang Yuan laughed and squinted at Mo Yan, saying, "Who told you I was Guyo Fang Yuan?" Mo Yan was momentarily stunned, then she took a look at Gao Wan. He had just stood up, but upon seeing this, he immediately knelt back down with sweat pouring out of his forehead. He stammered and could not give a coherent reply. "Master, your servant, your servant." They had a drawing of Fang Yin, but they did not know that Fang Yun and Fang Zheng were twins that looked almost identical. No wonder this young man looked like he had no fear. He is actually Fang Zheng and not Fang Yuan, Mo Yan's servants guessed in their minds. Fang Yuan cannot be compared to Fang Zheng. The former is merely a C-ranked loner with no background. The latter, however, has a ranked talent and was pulled into the clan head's faction at the awakening ceremony. And as long as he grows smoothly, he has a bright future ahead. Mo Yan did not get proper a reply from Gao Wan, causing her to be even more hesitant. At this point, the only ones who knew Fang Yuan's identity were the inn employees. However, they could not afford to offend either parties, so they only kept their mouths shut. Fang Yuan was satiated from his meal. He stood up and glanced lightly at Mo Yan. "You want to find Fang Yuan? Come with me. I'll bring you to the school hostel to look for him. If the person in front of me is Fang Zheng, I would not want to offend him. However, even if he is really Fang Yuan, I will follow him closely on this trip, so I have no fear of him impersonating Fang Zheng." In an instant, Mo Yan made up her mind. "All right, I will go together with you to the school hostel." "After you." Mo Yan turned her body to make space for Fang Yuan, stretching out her arm and indicating for Fang Yuan to take the lead. Fang Yuan laughed nonchalantly and strode forth. Mo Yan followed closely behind with her servants trailing at the back. So close. They're finally gone. Even if they start fighting, it is none of our inn's business anymore. The employees that were left behind all sighed in relief as they patted their chests. A group of people approached the school hostel. Halt! Stop right there. The school hostel only allows our clan's gu masters to enter and leave. The two guards at the door stopped Fang Yuan, Mo Yan, and her gang. Insolent! Do you not recognize who I am? How dare you stop me? Mo Yan stared at the two and screamed. We dare not, the two guards hurriedly gestured. Young Miss Mo Yan, this guard holds you in high regards. However, the clan rules are absolute. So how about this? You can bring one servant in. This is the most we can do for you. An elderly guard politely responded. Mo Yan clicked her tongue. Her heart was full of dissatisfaction, yet in the presence of the clan rules, she did not dare to break them. The Mo family was prosperous, and thus they had many enemies. Do not forget that aside from the Mo family branch, there was also the Chai family to contend with. Apart from the Chi family, the clan head's faction also wanted to get a hold on the Mo family. All of you stay behind. Gao Wan will follow me. Thinking about it, Mo Yan gave her orders. Gao Wan immediately held his chest up high with a look of joy on his face. Thank you, young miss, for the opportunity. Let's go, Junior. Mo Yan smiled at Fang Yuan with a questioning look. Fang Yuan remained unfazed as he led them in. He reached the dormitory door, opened the lock, and pushed the door open. He then took a step into the room and stopped. Within the room, there was nothing extra. It was all simple furniture, and there was no one else. Mo Yan stood at the doorstep, took a look inside, and her face turned grim. Junior, you better explain yourself well. There is no one in the room. Fang Yuan smiled faintly. Aren't I someone? Mo Yan stared at Fang Yuan, a glint flashing in her eyes as she suddenly seemed to have understood. I am looking for Guyue Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan snickered. You know, I never said that I wasn't Guyue Fang Yuan.